100%. I broadcast my show here every day. It's not some guy in the back room, although he once was. Brent has a qualified track record and a proven history in this business. Whatever production needs you may have are taken care of by pros, professionals. And not to mention, they're a Travel Oregon award-winning company. Yeah, stuff that they've produced has went on to win big-time media awards throughout the state. You don't have to go to the other side of the state. You don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to call a basketball coach. No. So listen to Ball Game. Brent Clapp Productions. It's where you need to be. Ha 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 ha! Hey, Johnny Ballgame here. What's going on? You're not going to hire a basketball coach to fix your house up. You're not going to hire a gardener to operate on your hands. So why would you hire anybody but a solid professional when it comes to audio?
Hey, EO Alive. Thanks for joining us today. And again, it's always a pleasure to be here every other Wednesday and have Carrie join me. And here we are again. Seems like we have been at this forever.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's been a while. The concept of time has really kind of escaped me lately. I feel like our lives kind of changed a little bit, and I'm really having a hard time wrapping my mind around the fact that it's almost the end of August, that the daylight is starting to change. It just it's a little unbelievable, honestly.
Yeah, I get that. And you're right. It's just so strange. It's like, where did the spring and summer go? And we've kind of been in this funky situation now has it been 6 months yet? Is that or are we coming up on that now?
Pretty close.
Yeah. Well, and I imagine for you, I mean, I don't do this every day, but every day I would imagine you've got the same routine going. You're doing the same thing over and over again. You're monitoring and so on and so forth. So, and I know that we don't really have any new breaking news today. This isn't a tremendously news informed or a packed session for us today, but I appreciate you guys being out there and doing what you're doing. And so you guys are still doing the mask campaign. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I think, your comment about there not being any breaking news, I think that, the fact that we've been at this for some time does really require us to look back and remind ourselves of some of the basics. So, I think when we've been doing this for such a long period of time, like, it really does seem fairly easy to, I don't know, think that things are maybe not still serious, or, maybe lighten up on some of our precautions that we've been taking. And so I think, it is important for us to continue to remind ourselves of the basics of this, and wearing the face coverings that we have grown to be very familiar with now at this point in the pandemic is certainly one part of that. And so CHD has been running a mask campaign on our social media. And the idea is that we have pictures of members of our community that are wearing their face coverings, and a little bit of background about why they're wearing those face coverings. Now, I've talked with you a lot about face coverings, and I know for myself, I have really personal reasons for wearing them, along with just my desire to protect members of the community as well. But there's definitely a personal reason why I take that action when I'm in situations where it's warranted. And so we've asked members of our community to share with us why they're wearing their face coverings. And so you go to our Facebook page, our Instagram, you can search for the hashtag CHD_INC. And you can also search for the hashtag or use the hashtag MOTD, which stands for Mask of the Day. And you can see on our feed the pictures of members of our community that have shared their beautiful face coverings, their unique face coverings, and the reasons why they choose to put those on every day. And we would love to increase the number of people that we're able to share on our social media. We'd really like to know the reasons why you make that choice. As a Union County resident, we'd really like to see your favorite face covering or the face covering that you like to wear. And so you can send pictures to our email address. If you're not comfortable doing the hashtag, I mean, that's certainly another way to do it, and we can catch it that way. But If you want to send it to info@chdinc.org, we will take your photo and your quote and post it on our Facebook page so we can share your reason with the community.
Well, and it's regardless of where you are at in the effectiveness, your opinion of the effectiveness of mask one way or the other, it still is it's a way of us coming together. It's a way of, I mean, I think some of the masks that I've seen are, they're decorated and they're unique. And I think that sometimes that's what we've missed in this whole process is the connectiveness of being connected to each other. And, and I think I can see where that would really help, because we're, like it or not, we're in this together. We got to figure this out together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. One of the reasons I love Union County is that we really care about each other. And I really believe that to be true. Like, it's definitely a fact in my opinion, if that can exist, that we truly do care about each other. And, the reality is that the face covering is a way that we take care of each other. We can protect those around us by wearing it. And we can, hopefully continue to have a low number of cases in our community and reduce the spread. I think that we're moving into a new phase of our life with COVID-19, and that we're trying to bring students back into classrooms where, we know is the best environment for them to do their learning. And so it's really more critical than ever that we all take whatever role we can take in keeping the spread of the virus low in our county so we can achieve that goal of having students be learning in classrooms. And so again, I feel like our time to continue to look out for each other and care for each other, it's still there. We still need to take those actions.
Yeah. And I recently had a personal experience where I got a cold, and it's this is cold season, and that's flu season is coming up. And it's part of what complicates this whole mess is that you have to, people are going to get regular old colds, and it's not going to be COVID. That's just part of where we're at, but still it was enough of an issue that, I isolated myself. The people that I normally have contact with, I was very careful to limit my contact with them. I had a couple of doctors of appointments, and I had to reschedule those. And in fact, it's funny because I had a dentist appointment earlier this week, and they asked me, well, the last 14 days, have you had a cold? Well, I had a cough, and so I'm over that now, but still, anyhow, it's just part of where we are now. It's inconvenient, but it's funny because I didn't really think about it until I got to the dentist office, and it's like, well, yeah, in this particular case, the mask has got to come off. My mouth is going to be open. And so if there were infection in there, then that's going to be, they have to protect themselves from the possibility of COVID. So, yeah, so it was, I don't know, it was just, again, it kind of brought some issues down to earth. You guys had once explained it as though if you had glitter on you, and then every time and anybody, if you've had kids that have had glitter projects, that it just gets everywhere. And months after you've done a glitter project, you still will find little pieces here and there. And, the potential of infection, whether it's a cold or whether it's COVID, all of that is very possible. So anyhow, it was kind of a good awakening moment for me to kind of look at that.
Yeah, definitely. I took a phone this weekend. I was basically on call this weekend, and so somebody passed me the phone, literally, like handed it to me. And I was going to hand it back to them, and I wanted to clean it, right? So I took out a wipe and I was wiping off the cord, the charger, and I was trying to put it into a bag so I could hand it to them without, with it being sanitized, so to speak. And even just like, I really noticed how difficult it was for me to take that cord and put it into the bag without actually touching the cord. I mean, I was trying to use the sanitizing wipe and put it in the bag, but it was almost an impossible task. And so, I think again, it really brought home to me how many things we touch, how many things unknowingly we touch, and how easy it would be for me to, unknowingly come into contact with something that somebody with COVID-19 had touched. And I think the other thing you alluded to, being ill and having mild symptoms, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people where, it is really hard sometimes to know whether or not you're having a symptom you should be concerned about. I think, I know this week there's been a lot of smoke in the air. And so, I'll have a little scratchy throat and I'll think, is it smoke or am I getting something else? And so, I think as a culture, we have this tendency to want to push through our illness. Like, I can make it, I can handle it. I'm going to go to work today. I'm not going to, let this sickness stop me. And I think we really need to maybe take a different tact going forward, knowing what's out there and knowing the risks that are existing in our community. They're a little bit different now. And so we'll have to change our culture a little bit around staying home when we're sick.
Yeah. And that, I appreciate that. And I understand that. But when you're like me, I mean, the thing when you're like me, you have a small business, there is no sick pay. I mean, if I don't show up, it's the project is not progressing forward. And, I've kind of joked that even if I had COVID, I'd probably slip in the back door into my office and into my own isolation, or I'd take all my stuff home and work from there until I was physically not able to do so, just because that's the nature of small business. I'm fortunate that, we've been able to lock our front doors and do appointment only type of situations, and we've been able to continue to function. But there's lots of businesses. I was just talking to someone earlier that their business is totally shut down, and their income, they're still paying rent, they're not able to, they're just kind of stuck in this funk that they are a part of and that they're in. And I have to confess that I've not ever cleaned a cord before I gave it back to someone, but I appreciate you doing so. And the point is whether someone, goes clear to one side or the other, infection is spread from one item to another. And, we can debate and different people are. I mean, the whole COVID thing has now become politicized, and it's a part of our elections cycle, which makes it even crazier and messier than what it was before. But the reality is that these are lessons that are important for us to learn, because even if COVID, and we're lucky in our situation. I mean, I watch the stats every day locally here, and I don't get too wound up in hot spots around the nation or wherever it might be, because I can't do anything about that, and it doesn't relate to me. It's not us, and it doesn't change how I should affect. But the next infection might be much worse. I mean, there's the possibility of something out there that could even bring us more devastation. And so, these are good things for us to know in order to preserve ourselves, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey, so let's talk again about the help that people can receive if they're sick or they're at home and they need someone to get groceries, and talk to us again about that program, if you would.
Yeah. So you were talking about, small businesses that are impacted by the pandemic, and, I think I really, I understand that we're not all in the same situation, and that, being able to just stay home if you're sick is not necessarily an easy proposition for everybody in our community, and that it can really create some challenges and hardships for people. So, one of the things that we at CHD are trying to do, and a number of partners in our community are trying to do, is really come together and provide people with the support that they need to navigate the challenges that, are pretty unprecedented right now. So if you're asked to isolate because you have COVID-19, or you are asked to quarantine because we've identified you as a close contact to a confirmed case, and we're concerned that there's a, really good risk that you could develop the virus, we want to be able to help you do what we will ask you to do, which is stay home during your isolation or quarantine period. So for people that are in that particular situation, we have what we call wraparound services. And basically, we have an email and a phone number, a single point of contact that can be contacted and asked for any number of types of assistance or support. So we're actually really fortunate that one of our partners, Northeast Oregon Network, has set up a website where all of this information is housed. And I'd like to share that with the viewers. It's neonoregon.org/COVID-19. And so if you go to this website, it'll basically tell you that if you have tested positive or you've possibly been exposed, there's a number you can call. But what I really want, members of our community to know is that the services that are being promoted and shared on this website are, in most cases available to people in the community, regardless of whether or not they've tested positive. The wraparound services, the phone number and the email are really primarily for people that find themselves in a situation where they have COVID or at risk. But, there are other resources like food boxes, rental assistance from Community Connections. I know LeGrand Parks and Rec has some services for helping people get things that they might need picked up or delivered. They've got financial assistance. There's actually a multi-page document on here with a really, really broad range of resources that are available to the members of our community. So, what I would encourage people to do is that I know right now people may find themselves in situations they've never been in before. Maybe they've never needed rental assistance, but now they're faced with a situation where it might be difficult for them to cover those costs, or they are maybe not able to get enough food to make it through the month or the week or whatever, time period is until they'll be able to get another paycheck. So this website has a lot of resources that you can go access. And I think, I just really encourage people that these organizations and these community partners really do want to help. They're available to help support the members of our community. And so if you find yourself in a situation where you could benefit from that, I would definitely go check out that resource and make sure that you get any help that might be available to make it possible for you to follow the recommendations for isolation and quarantine. But also, if you're just a member of the community that needs to stay home if you're sick, some of those organizations might also be able to help you. So it's just a really great resource. And again, another wonderful example of how Union County likes to support each other and help each other out.
That's excellent. And it's wild that we have been at this long enough that somebody's been able to put together a website. It's who would have ever thought that we would kind of be in the place where we are. So, but
yeah, definitely. But, there's a lot of partners that have come together and really dedicated a lot of time and effort and resources into gathering all this information so people can find it in one location and hopefully, be able to navigate this kind of unprecedented time.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, Carrie, anything else that you kind of want to fill us in on?
No, I think the next 2 weeks, we're getting close to school starting. And I think that, it'll be, as I've said earlier, we can all play a part in helping get students back in classrooms. But I think, there's a chance when we bring folks together in congregate settings like schools that we could have an increase in cases. So, those basic precautions that we talked about all along are going to be even more critical. So, again, if you have symptoms of COVID-19, please stay home, please stay away from other people, contact your primary care provider if you need any support or assistance in navigating what steps you should take. We also really need people to remember that the physical distancing, that 6 feet, really does make a difference. It definitely helps us reduce the spread of virus to those that are around us, along with the face covering, and then the really great hand hygiene as well. Just really, I talked to you about sanitizing that phone charger. I really forget how many surfaces I touch on a daily basis: my mouth, my keyboard, door handles, anything that I'm touching on a regular basis. Those things are good to really keep clean. And these are just the basic preventive practices that are going to probably help us with other things that your cold that you're going to see, flu, strep throat, all of the viruses that will start circulating now that we're going to be back indoors again and the weather's going to be changing. So just really encourage folks to keep up on those things, and so grateful for all of the effort that the members of our community have taken to keep our spread low.
Yeah. And I think we're, again, I don't want to speak out of turn or too quick, but we seem to be doing okay. We seem to, given that we had such a significant swell in such a short period of time, and when we're having several days of no cases, and then we'll have a day where there's 2 cases and a couple of ones and a couple of no cases, so and the people that I see, again, I see being compliant. They're compliant with the mask. They're making an effort to keep their distance. And even older traditional people, you see them being careful and making an effort. And, I appreciate the effort that people are making. So,
it's really about taking care of each other, and we really have control over, how far things spread. Like, there really are concrete actions we can take to keep those numbers down.
Yeah. Well, and it seems to be making a difference. And again, for me, I come back to, regardless of, the whole issue has become so controversial in many different regards and so on and so forth. And we have a great opportunity, regardless of what our personal opinion is, we have a great opportunity to give way to others and to be compassionate to others. And, whether or not you believe that a mask is effective or not, you still have the opportunity to show courtesy and grace to those people that you run into by wearing a mask and by increasing their comfort. And it seems like a pretty small thing to do for us to be able to get through this time, rather than seeking some kind of a divisive means. Holy smokes, there's so much of that right now. This does not seem that difficult to give. So,
yeah, it really is a kind and loving act, and
yep.
I certainly see it that way, and I'm grateful that I get to be of service to the members of my community by doing that.
Yeah, great. Well, Carrie, again, thank you always for coming on and giving us your time, and thank you again for the CHD folks. Be sure and tell them that we appreciate them. I know that at this point it's kind of a thankless job. And, especially when there are no major changes, you've got to keep doing the messaging, the same thing as what you always have. And I'm sure that there are times that people are critical of you, and I'm thankful you are doing what you're doing, and thankful for serving us as a public and helping us.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. All righty. Well, and thank you, EO Live TV, for tuning in, and we will see you.